Hey, welcome back to Motorhead Garage. Well, folks, if you're into the used car business or a collision shop or even roadside assistance, or even if you're a repo guy, we got something for you. This is a self-loader, and this is from Lift and Tow. Now, this is a tow system you can hook right to the back of a 3/4 ton pickup or larger. Now, this is the heart of it right here. This is what we call a subframe, has a control box to it, and it's adjustable for different models. And this is the first thing we're going to put on right now.
Just a little bit. That's about good right there.
Okay. All right, this subframe Cal and I are installing here is exactly the same as the one Dave showed you on the floor. Now, this is Cal from Lift and Tow. Now, this is your brainchild, and you make it right here in America, right?
Make it right here in America with North American steel.
That's good for me. And you know, you don't have to have a lift. We got the luxury of a lift, a transmission jack. You can do this in your driveway with a couple of jack stands and a jack and some help from your friends. So what's our first move here?
Put the U-bolts in the top on the side of the frame here.
Okay. We got some U-bolts like this, and because they have nuts and washers. This thing is universal. This same subframe goes in every truck. Ford, Dodge, Chevy, UD, whatever. And the mounting plates are different. Is that what it is?
Right, it's just a mounting plate to the Chevrolet and the Dodge with a tube frame, depends which truck it is. And you can take it off one truck and put it right back on another one.
The neat part is, there is no drilling, and you know how the OEs frown on you drilling their frames. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna come around the chassis rail. You gotta get up underneath here. So we've got two mounting plates that we're putting in the back, and it's sort of like a receiver. Then we've got two more that are gonna go up front. We're gonna need to bar this forward a little bit. Then we'll get a tape measure, we'll get it square. We'll run it down with the impact gun. Then we'll go ahead and torque it to 100 foot-pounds with a torque wrench.
There it comes. There we go.
All right.
Now we got it back.
And the next step is,
We're gonna take this 15 bolt out up here first.
this is gonna be that side.
Hey, let's see if
I can do it,
I can get that in there. Okay.
Oh, I felt the bubble.
Yeah, just leave it alone. It'll stay right there. And we'll slide this in.
Right, and I gave you, I think, the one over there.
I might have to bring this down just a hair.
Okay, good.
There we go. Now we can pull this back, and we go back up. That wasn't too hard, was it?
No, not at all. Good move.
Now we got to use those two bolts sitting there that was in the bumper. The same holes that they were in before.
All right, bumper's tight.
Yep, we're good.
Subframe's all bolted up. Not bad, and we move on now to the next step.
All right, now that we got our subframe on, the next thing is our 3-stage boom. Now, it's got our hydraulic cylinders on here, comes with the hydraulic hose, plus it's even got a Class 3 hitch on it.
All right, we're pretty well lined up here. All right, now we're getting ready to put the boom on, and you can see this is the piece that's got the hydraulic ram on it. And this telescopes or extends in and out. You can see how rugged this is. Everything's double reinforced. The weld is unbelievable, and the whole thing is welded solid, not just tack welded. And there's grease fittings, every pin, so on. If you grease it often with good grease, it'll last forever. So our first move is to jack it up. We've got a big pin that's gonna go across both of these beams. I also got to thread these hydraulic hoses over this.
There you go. Yep, right through the hole there. All right, what do you see there?
I see that we got to go up a little bit.
Up a little more?
Yep. Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
That, huh? All right. Now we're going to raise this ram. And you want me to put this clip pin in?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. We're going to have a stroke, I think. All right. There we go. I got it through.
Good deal.
Okay, so now we have the main frame pin for the boom in, and we got the pin that's at the split, the clevis, on the hydraulic ram. Now we're gonna hook up some of these hydraulic lines and we can move on. Right now, we need to take a quick break. Got a lot more coming here at Motorhead Garage.
Motorhead Garage, presented by ARP, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage as we work on our lift and tow system. Now we got the subframe on and our boom. The next step is our hydraulic system. And what we have here, this is electric over hydraulic pump. Got a reservoir here. Now you can mount this about any place you can where it's convenient. And the best part of it is we also have a wireless remote on here, so you don't even have to get out of the truck in order to hook up your tow.
All right, now here's the electric hydraulic pump Dave showed you. This is a pretty simple unit. Now it's marked, everything in this kit is marked. Power wire goes here, and the small black wire from the controller back there for the remote. And then of course this one here tells you that the small white wire goes here. It's just a solenoid that activates the motor. Now you're gonna get wires in the kit. You're gonna get a whole large cable like this. This is your power cable. You run it up front. There's a 12-volt B+ connector. You're protected by this fuse that comes in the kit. Always put your fuse closest to the power source. And of course, we got a ground here. We got a nice red cover to mark that it's positive. That'll go on here. And we got some hoses. If you look at the top of the pump, there's decals. Everything's marked. But if these little decals come off, it's engraved right in the pump. Pressure and tank. Pressure's going to go to the ram, then you're going to return the fluid back in this hose to the reservoir. And you get the hoses all marked. And of course, you'll notice we've been putting these hoses on, and we haven't used any thread seal or a Teflon tape. The reason for that is these are all nice inverted flare fittings. They work really good. So you got to make sure you get them right in the back. So I'll go ahead and hook up these lines, and then I'll thread them back there to Cal. And I'll be sure to tell him, first one I'm putting in, that's the return line to the tank. And these tighten up. You don't have to over tighten them because they're flares. Get them good and snug. All right, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna put the whole unit up here. There's a bracket that they supply, bolts onto the side of the chassis. This will sit up on top of that bracket, reservoir forward. And of course, once it's up there, we can then hook up all our hydraulic lines. Then we'll add fluid, we'll bleed the system out, and we'll get it to run, and hook up our power up front. We'll be ready to try this with our remote control.
Okay, folks, this is what makes it a self-loader. This is called the Z-bar. We hook this up to the boom, hook up our hydraulics, and you can hook this thing up and start towing.
All right, now we're ready to put our Z-bar on, and you know, it's gonna go on here where this boom comes out. Now, normally you do this on the ground, but we just happen to have this one set up on the table. We got a lift, and of course, we can run this in and out, but this is really a pretty interesting piece. So Cal, tell me about this. How long did it take you to design this?
It took me about 2 years to design it, and I'll tell you what, these arms, you can stay in the truck, you don't have to get out of the truck. It's dangerous to get out of the truck on the highway.
Right.
And they fold right in. These little wheels run up on the catches, and it folds right in. It's a pretty nice piece of equipment.
You know, and it's rugged made. This thing will pick up at least a 7,000-pound car. It's got double plates. If you look at the welds, everywhere you look, the weld is not just tacked, it's weld all the way around. Now tell me about these blocks right here.
Well, that's a lock block. When you're hauling a vehicle and you have the arms out, if you're going down the road and you happen to blow a fitting or blow a hose, this locks the fluid in so you can't lose the car off of it. It's a safety feature.
Otherwise, if a hose ruptured, fluid would escape, and everything would go out.
Yep.
Okay, so he has the remote. We've got this all hooked up. The pump works. Let's see this thing work.
Okay.
Extending it out.
We're gonna go out, and we're gonna get down just a hair.
We can go up and down.
Okay.
We got a pin to put in.
There we go.
There we go.
Just needs a little help.
Yeah, come on. Come on, try that.
Just there she goes. Now I'll tap that down in there.
Okay, got that in. That's held in with 2 countersunk Allen screws.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And as you get these little dots, I guess that pin is precision honed.
Yes, it is. Now we'll snug those out.
Yep. I don't think I've got it quite started straight. This needs to come back. There you go. So the next thing we got to do is we've got some hydraulic lines that come from the hydraulic selector block there. They're marked. All right, that's open, so that's going to go on the top. The block is actually marked. So a couple of fittings. Again, you don't need any thread sealer or Teflon tape because these are flares, inverted flares, and you don't really need to go cranking on them real hard. And this whole system will self-bleed as you use it.
Yes, it will.
You gotta always make sure that you've got fluid in the reservoir because as you fill up these empty rams and lines, that'll make a difference. Again, start them by hand so you don't get the threads messed up. All right, so we'll go ahead and tighten up these lines. We'll be able to operate this thing, and then at that point, everything will be bled out. We can get rid of these tie wraps. The whole system will be complete. Then we'll be ready to start lifting cars, won't we?
That's right.
We gotta take a quick break, stick around. We've got a lot more coming here on Motorhead Garage.
Let's check in with Sam.
Told you we'd show you how this thing works. He's backing up just like a repo guy. You can see all this from the cab of the truck. Using his remote, he'll back right up. A couple of push buttons. The arms will come out, come around behind the rear of the front wheels. He'll lift it up. Now this unit comes with a complete set of straps for safety. The repo man's not going to take the time to do that or on the freeway. He's going to pick the car up, he's going to drive to a safe spot, then put the straps on. Look at that. That guy had made a payment, he'd be okay. All right, now I got to go back inside, see what Dave's up to.